What's up, people? Today is Monday, July 7th, 2025. It's 8:30 in the evening. It's still 80 degrees. I'm trying to absorb as much as I can because so far this summer's been nothing to brag about. And this is the RC that got me into the hobby last year. It's $149, but you could get it on sale for like $127, $130 often. I'll put it in the description. I have to look up the name, the exact name of it, but once this video is live, I'll either put it in the description or the first comment. I'll pin it. I had a few health scares last year. Thyroid cancer, and then before that was even done, my cardio doctor was telling me I had blocked arteries. Luckily, they were both wrong. But that is what got me into these hobbies. Okay, how do I turn that light on? No? Is this it? There you go. And I think this is in slow. Let me see if I go fast. This car for 150 bucks, it's brushless, it has the light, I love it. Now, if you're gonna try to compare it with something, let's compare it with these two Armor RCs. The only problem with these is that they don't have lights. So you're not gonna get a good look at these, unfortunately. Let's see. Let's see if I could get it on. Can I get this one on? Even I can't see it. Let's see. Yeah, perfect. Okay. That's the brushless version. Now let's get the brush version going. I hate when they do brushed and then brushless because somebody like me, I end up buying all of them, and that's the problem. Now, somebody may say, is it worth getting the brushless if you already have the brush? Yes. This one is crazy. Only thing is it's no lights. It has one of the best clipless bodies I've ever had, and I have 170 something RCs right now. It's so easy, it just snaps in. You don't have to try to like, Valerio has a few systems that are not bad, but if you don't get it lined up right, it's a pain in the neck. You have to twist certain things a certain way. You have to pull out, like the newest one, you have to pull the clip out and spin it. And if you have chubby fingers, that won't work, so I need a pair of tweezers. This is probably the easiest, and then if I had to compare it to the next best, it would be Traxxas. Traxxas has some really good clipless RCs, and this one is crazy. I just wish there was an option for a light. Now, hold on, let's see. This is as fast as this one goes. This is the brush version. Not bad for a kid. It's just the brushless is that much better. I'm actually thinking about doing a giveaway with the brush version because I don't want to keep multiples. And to me, the brush version, if you do have both, is just, I mean, you could hear it. It handles really well. I just don't know why they don't do a light kit for it. And here is the RC that got me into RCs. I believe I ordered it June 15th. It was one of those that you get the next day. And then I've been ordering from Amazon almost ever since. I have a car coming from, I have an RC coming tomorrow from Amazon. I had one coming last week, the new Hassam, or however you pronounce it. But this is brushless. It's probably just as fast as my brushless Chrome right here. Oops, my bad. I'm over here trying to get it lined up well. And as you can see, it's the only one with lights. Why? You know, you don't realize you need the lights until you're doing it at night. And then you're like, I can't see. I don't know why they don't have like a good aftermarket light, not even aftermarket, but by Armor. Like Traxxas, I even have the new Raptor all coming, the Ultimate Edition, black and gold. I think it'll be here Wednesday. I ordered all the parts for it. They came last week already, all the extra lights and the fans and all the other stuff. It's hot out here. You need one of these. I'm thinking I actually have a prize that should have went out today, but it's going to go out tomorrow. I was just waiting on one other little thing I wanted to put in it. But I may be giving that red one in the middle because it's the brush version. Where is it? Right here. Maybe giving this one away. Now, what do you guys think? It's definitely a good starter RC. It's good for kids, and that's originally why I was going to keep them. But I have so many. Armor had a bad habit of doing that last year, coming out with brushed and then brushless. Let me give you an example. They came out with this last year. Can you even see it well? That was the brushed version. Then they came out with the four-wheel drive brushless version. Then they came out with the two-wheel drive brushless version. And normally I wouldn't have bought it, but they caught me like really late or really early one morning with the new RC announcement, and I just put an order in, and then I realized it was another Vortex, but just rear-wheel drive this time, brushless. Now I need 3 of them, like 3 holes in the head. So what I'm probably gonna do is, let me move this over a little bit. I'm probably gonna give the brush version of both of them away. I'll probably give, what do you call it, away first. It's smaller, it'll be easier to ship. And then I'll do the Vortex. And this Hyper-Go, I have to say, I really like the car. I think it's great for the price, between 127 to 150 bucks, depending on when you get it. The company, though, I don't love, and I'll tell you why I don't love it. I only ordered direct through them twice. Every time else has been through either Amazon or one of those other companies, right? Both times was a problem. The first time was they sent me the wrong RC. They came out with that Jeep in yellow, which was the better version, and then they came out with it in black, which was $50 cheaper, and it was supposedly, you know, it only came with 1 set of wheels instead of 2 set of wheels, etc. What did they do? They sent me the wrong one, even though the box actually has the right receipt in it. They still sent me the wrong one. What did they do? They just tell me sorry, and they sent me the 50 bucks back that they owed me because they sent me the wrong one. The second time I ordered the Bronco, the MJX Bronco, and what happens? After a month and a half, I send them an email saying, where's my Bronco? oh, you live in America, because of the tariffs, we can't send it to you. I said, okay, well, would you think you were just going to keep my money? Oh, we're sorry, we'll give it back to you tomorrow. So they did give me my money back, but what happened if I didn't, stay up on that? You were just going to keep my money? And how many other people did you do that with? And don't blame it on the tariffs. I've been ordering from China for the last 4 months, the same as I always been. And they're the only people who gave me a problem. A few other people charged me an extra 20, 30 bucks, but that's fine. But no one ever said they couldn't send to me. I mean, that's silly. And if that's fine if you can't send it to me, but don't keep our money. That's not good. So the 2 times I ordered from MJX, bad experience. Also, they only have one basher with a clipless body, and that wasn't my favorite. I have it. I like the Bronco that they came out with. That was okay. I also like the fact that they do have parts available. When this one, last year, I kind of crashed it into the curb. I needed some parts, and I found them all on Amazon, 1, 2, 3. Hold on, can we do the jump? I like the fact that you could put it on medium and high without, all kinds of crazy things. It's just a switch. The switch is right here. Can you see it? It's right here. Now I'm going to put it on medium. And now it's just going to be more controllable for a little kid. Like I said, I love the chromes, the brushless, and the brushed. I just wish they had lights, especially for the price. But I will be giving the brush version away, which is this one. Like I said, I already had one giveaway that goes out tomorrow to somebody who won something. And this will probably be the next giveaway right here. The brushed RC, the brushed chrome, the brushed Mojave chrome. I have the other one right here, and that one is definitely one of my favorite. I mean, it is quick. And like I was just telling somebody a little while ago, they have probably the best clipless systems. It's easy. You don't have to try to finagle it like so many other companies. They tried, and it's just not perfect. It's not easy. This brushless, this clipless system, it literally just clips. 1, 2, 3. I could do it in the dark. The shell is a nice thick shell. I'm telling you, besides this and Traxxas have the 2 best clipless systems. Valerio tried it on a few different cars and not so great. MJX on their crawler, their Bronco, the magnetic was not bad. That I like. I like the magnetic, closures on especially crawlers. They don't need to be so crazy like the bashers. Even their Typhoon is also really a good clipless system. Man, they're coming now, UPS? That's not for me, is it? Talk about, no, I was gonna say, man, I have UPS dropping off 2 RCs tomorrow from Fair RC, 2 crawlers, 2 18 or 24 scale crawlers are coming tomorrow. But yeah, actually, let me see if I can even show you guys how easy this clipless system is. Definitely my favorite. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's 2 buttons right here. A button here, a button here. You click it. Let me see if I'll maybe do it on the floor. Let me do it on the floor over here. You clip it, off. Putting it back, on. That may even be easier than the Traxxas ones, but them and Traxxas are definitely neck and neck with the clipless systems. All the other companies, not so much. At least they're trying, which is great. And like I was saying, this is the RC that got me into RCs over a year ago, June 18th is when this was delivered last year. And for 150 bucks, that's the top that it runs. Usually it's between 127 and 150. Ooh. And you don't realize how important lights are until you try to do RC cars at night and you can't see. Because I was one of those people who said, you don't need lights. Lights are a gimmick. It's bull. Man, you need them. You definitely need them. I think even companies like Traxxas should have, like right now, the Raptor that I have coming this Wednesday, the black and gold Raptor Ultimate Edition, that should have had all the lights already included. I shouldn't have had to buy some lights to add them separate. That's just my opinion. I know some people like doing it. I'm not one of them. Man, there's lightning bugs out here like a mother. That's how you know we're in early July. And I'll miss those lightning bugs soon. They'll be gone in another few weeks, all the way until next end of June. But yeah, I really like this HyperGo. For the price, for the money, I'll add a link either in the comment section or the description. And I don't do that to make the 1% commission. I do that because it's just easier for you guys to find something. It's from Amazon. It's not like some outside link from some other companies. Like I went to buy an RC from another link the other day from somebody else. I figured it helps them. It doesn't cost me anything, same thing. But it was from one of these companies that said it was going to take like 2.5 months to get to me. I was like, there's no way in the world I'm waiting 2.5. I'm not waiting 2.5 months for nothing. Definitely not an RC. And that's why I don't really order from, what is it called, Banggood or something like that. Man, look at some of the wait times on their RCs are nuts. And that's why Amazon gets my business. You know, I need something to come pretty soon. Traxxas is good. Traxxas, you get, if it's in stock, you have it in a few days. Who else is pretty good? Even though Rolario's out of the country, they're not terrible. I mean, I had some great experiences with them, and then I had some that took forever. But most of the time, it's not terrible considering where they come from. Fair RC is not bad. FMS is usually from inside the country, so they're not bad. Horizon Hobby could be hit or miss too. I've had things come from Horizon Hobby real quick, and then that pink vortex on the floor there took like 12 days from, and it didn't have a battery in it, so what was the it's not like it could only travel certain ways. It just took forever. It seemed like it would get, and it was FedEx, but it seemed like it would get scanned in the same location like 2 days, and then it would go to another location and get scanned there for 2 days. I almost thought it was getting lost. See how fast that is? I really like that Mojave Gram. The brushless one is crazy. If it had lights, it would be perfect. It controls really well. I mean, really well. Again, the shell is probably the top 2 clipless systems. I mean, it's a nice hard shell too. It's not a flimsy shell, but it literally, again, you could do it in the dark. 1, 2, 3, clip right in. All right, people, hold on. Bear with me 1 second. I gotta lower something before my wife has a heart attack. Yeah, that's my wife, the human pain in the ass. Yep, that's her. She could be a pain in the ass. But to be fair, I left on Narcos downstairs, so it probably had some like curses going on that my son was probably hearing, so she was yelling down, lower the TV. I don't even know why I didn't pause it For some reason, I watch shows like that. I saw Narcos, all 3 seasons, probably a total of 4 or 5 times in the last few months, but I've never sat and watched it like straight. I get pieces here, pieces there, pieces here. So then, like, if I do sit down and watch it, it's like I'll catch new things because I'm always just kind of watching it in the background. I always feel like I don't have enough time to just sit and watch TV. I always feel like I should be doing something else. And in the process, I miss a lot. Like there was even another show, I don't remember what it was, but it was a series that I watched, kind of like Narcos type series. And there was a whole scene that I've never seen before. And I tell you, I must have saw whatever I was watching 10 times already. And I'm like, wow, how did I miss that? But it happens. Hold on, people. Sorry. Man, real world things over here. It is what it is, people. It's real life. But yeah, Narcos is a good series. If anyone hasn't seen it yet, I think I went to watch it a few years ago, and I think the subtitles put me off. I'm like, I ain't watching something in subtitles. But I ended up watching it because of that guy that looks like Burt Reynolds. I saw him in another movie that I thought wasn't bad. The movie where he played, it's like what is it, like thousands of years ago or something. I can't think, Gladiators or something. I never saw Gladiator 1, but he was in part 2. I thought it was pretty good. Then I saw him in something else, and I said, well, let me give this a shot. And I have to say, Narcos was pretty good. Actually, it was really good. You know, good enough for me to watch it multiple times, even though I never saw it straight through. Spartacus was something like that too. Spartacus only had 4 seasons, right? It had the first season, then the guy got sick. So then they did a flashback, and then they did 2 more. So yeah, I think it was a total of 4, but it was like 3.5 really. I was living in a condo at that point, the same condo Lennox Lewis was living in. I just moved in, and he was actually moving out. And I caught a piece of it because I don't usually like those gladiator type old, like Roman type things. I don't know. In reality, I would think I would like it, but I just never gave myself enough time to sit and watch it. So one time it happened to be on in my office, and it was the part in the first season, but like, I don't know if it was episode 5 or 6, where the guy the girl bought a slave, the blonde girl bought a slave, and that's because she wanted him to kill Spartacus. So she had him try to kill Spartacus, but the other guy broke it up because he says he wants Spartacus to die in the ring. So anyway, they put this guy on a cross, they chop off his private part, and he still wouldn't rat who told him to do all of that. Anyway, I saw that part on TV, and I'm like, wow, they're showing all of this like graphic parts. I mean, they don't show you the chop off, but they show you like everything else. I was like, wow, this is interesting. And sure enough, Spartacus became my wife and I's favorite show for a while. It's a shame he died of cancer. And it just goes to show you everywhere we are, cancer's at. No matter where you go, cancer's at. And that's why last year when the doctor told me he thought I had it, man, I was bugging out. And I got into hobbies. I got into RCs. I got into, I'm not a man without any hobbies. Most men my age have no hobbies. If they're lucky, they have a half a hobby. I still collect records, regular records, and DJ records. Scratch records. I'm into the portable side of DJing. I have 6 portable turntables. Every single one they have, and a few of like the new marks. The best one is the Omni by far. You don't even need to do upgrades. I started with video games late in life, so I still have this. I'm putting it on now. I'm getting bit by bugs. I started with video games really late in life. Yeah, crazy, but it is what it is. I got into all of this stuff late. We couldn't afford it growing up. Growing up, I was born in '73. So what happened was I could either get toys or video games. We couldn't afford both. So what did I want? I wanted toys instead. I didn't want video games because what would happen then, just like what happens now, you think you like something, you buy it, and then you don't like it. That happens with half the games I buy. Well, I didn't want that to happen as a kid because then what happens, then you have no toys. So what did I do? I instead always chose the toys. I never chose the video games. And because of that, I had no video games. Sorry, people. I had to get something, a rag. I didn't have the kind of dad growing up where he was like, oh, I'll get it anyway. If I wanted something like a video game system, that would have had to be a Christmas gift. And like I said, unfortunately, growing up, I rather toys. And then when I was old enough, I wanted clothes. So I didn't get to experience the 80s with, all the games and all of that stuff. I remember going to a friend of mine's house, Sam Gons, actually. He was my neighbor and best friend growing up. And if he sounds familiar, it's because he actually ended up playing for the Giants and the Jets. Matter of fact, the first time he was on the front paper of the Daily News, the New York Daily News, it was the same time Princess Diana died. So the newspaper got like a rap, because if not, he would have had the cover, because I think he just did an interception and ran like the whole field. And he made the front. But what happened? Princess Diana died, so she took the cover. Like I said, it was like a second cover. But yeah, that was my friend growing up, best friend growing up. We even had like a crew, it was PSP. Anytime somebody did something, you would say PSP, and that meant like no lying. And that stood for the Paul and Sam posse, or as corny as it sounds, but we were kids at the time. Yeah, Sam Gons. But yeah, I remember going to his house playing like Punch Out or something. I didn't have those games. I didn't have them, couldn't afford them. And then when I was old enough, when I was, 20, 21, which remember I was born in 73, so 83, so 93, wow. 94, in my mind, I was a lot older than that, but in 94, I was only 21. I remember looking at a receipt that I still have downstairs that I'll show you guys. That's when I was working in a deli / number store in the Bronx. But it wasn't like one of those number stores that, like the deli part of the store was busy, busier than any Westchester deli I still saw to today. It was called House of Good Foods. We were busy from 6 a.m. when we opened up to midnight. Packed, not busy, packed. But right next door, he had a fake rug store that did numbers, and also the back of our store, we had the Joker Pokers. And I saw one of the receipts from 94 because there was two Richies, the one who owned the store and then the one who worked in the store. The one who worked in the store also ran all the fireworks in the Bronx. When I tell you ran them, he would get, starting in April, 7 or 8, 18 wheelers full of fireworks, and then he would get them all the way until like the end of June. I would help him unload the trucks a lot of times because he was a friend as well. He also let me have consignment. I would take, so many fireworks every, 4 or 5 days until July 4th. And then July 5th or 6th or 7th, whenever it was, we would meet up. I would give him what I owed him, which was usually, 200K, sometimes more. And then we would go to Sue's Rendezvous because that's one place he used to like to go to before it became like all hip hop. It wasn't hip hop out in those days. Then Tuesday became hip hop / Latin night. And then it became almost all hip hop. And we hung out there, not because it was a strip club. We hung out there just because it was close to home. The DJs we knew, if it wasn't corrupt, it was somebody else we knew. And we had a blast. Then I got engaged and I stopped going. And also Caesar disappeared at the same time. If anyone knows Sue's Rendezvous, they know in 93, supposedly Caesar broke into the ATM, stole the money and left. I told somebody this story back in the day that I don't believe because two things. A, his wife was still there and she was still the head bartender. You're going to do that and leave your wife, number one. Number two, those weren't the type of people you steal from. They just weren't. What I think happened is he did get caught stealing. I think he was like changing, he must have been bringing in his own champagne bottles and selling them, because Sue's Rendezvous would sell, no joke, in a week they would probably sell 100K, maybe more in champagne. um, so what would happen is a lot of times, what I think is he would bring his own in and make his own money. And I know I said before, they're not the type of people to steal from, and they're not. And I think that's what happened. And then he disappeared, because I don't think it would have made much sense for him to break into the ATM and then leave his wife there. Like, I don't know. It didn't make sense. And anybody who knows Sue's Rendezvous, Caesar ran Sue's Rendezvous for decades, probably 20 years. He was in charge. But the funny thing is, before he disappeared and before I stopped going, I saw a few other Italian guys hanging out there that never was there before. And I knew who stood out because we knew everyone who worked there. And for like the last few months, there was like strange guys hanging around, and then Caesar vanished. So that's another story for another day. I wouldn't get involved. And again, I stopped going around that time too, because I got engaged. I started living with my wife, and I kept my word. I basically broke out of, stopped doing things that I shouldn't have done, all the way around. And it was what it was. I don't think you should get engaged to somebody if you're still going to do, and I'm not even talking about like doing things with women. That was never my forte, but I'm talking about even just running around the streets. I always promised my girlfriend slash fiance, then wife, that was something, no matter what I did beforehand, I would never bring that into a home. And I kept my word. Got rid of a lot of people that were really good friends. It didn't help. It actually helped that I started businesses that kept me really busy. I'm not going to say I didn't miss it, because I did. I did miss the crazy times. And maybe I'll do some videos on those times later on. If anyone was going to Sue's Rendezvous between like 86 and like 2003, you probably saw us or heard of us, because the DJ would always say, the X-Men from the Bronx are here, or whatever, because he was hanging with us. It was a lot of fun back those days. It's like I lived a few different lives already. I'm 51, but, I remember a time in life where we didn't even go out until 1 o'clock in the morning. Now I look at the clock, and by 1 o'clock, I'm usually sleeping a few hours already. Like, not long ago, I fell asleep. I lay down with my son. He still needs one of us to lay down with him, and that's fine. One of the nights I woke back up and I looked at the clock, and I swore it was like the morning. And it was like not even 1 o'clock in the morning yet. And I was thinking like, man, back in the days, we would just be meeting up to go out. Which is crazy, because if I saw a bunch of people meeting to go out at 1 o'clock now, I would just automatically think they're up to no good, or they're drug addicts, or whatever the case is, or alcoholics. Meanwhile, we did that for years. Yeah. And what was crazy about Sue's Rendezvous, and I know I'm jumping topics, I went from the RCs, et cetera, to Sue's, but what was so crazy about Sue's back then is there were celebrities every night of the week. Like Big Pun was always there. Fat Joe, I never saw Fat Joe there, but Pun, I saw maybe 100 times there. I was there the night they had to carry him out because he was so drunk. Cuban, I used to sit down and have drinks with him all the time. All the other Terror Squads I saw in there. Flex always DJ'd there, so I saw him all the time. I would always sit with him in the DJ booth. Who else? Red Alert DJ'd there a few times. Unfortunately, he didn't get a big showing. He didn't get like the crowd like Flex would get. I saw everyone from Mike Tyson to Tyrese, man, Sue's Rendezvous, and it wasn't just men. It was like men, women, everyone would just go to Sue. It was like if you were if you were uptown, that's where you went if you were uptown. And not just because, again, it was a strip joint, the DJs were on point, everything was on point. So if you were uptown, that's where you went. Of course, you had, the locks up there because they were Yonkers in Mount Vernon. It's funny, even though Sue's was in Mount Vernon, I don't think I ever saw Heavy D there. I don't think I ever saw Pete Rock and CL Smooth there. I used to see Heavy D a lot, but not ever in Sue's. My first job was on 4th Avenue in Mount Vernon. It was called Greens, which was like a Woolworths type store. And that was my first store. My first job, I was probably 15, 16, just getting working papers. And my Aunt Madeline worked there, so she got me a job there. And I used to see them all the time. But funny, never in Sue's though. I guess Sue's was kind of grimy, even though I shouldn't say it was grimy, but I guess for like the Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Heavy D. Yeah, who knows? But those were the days. And it's crazy to think, like I said, the receipt that I saw the other day was from '94. We're in 2025. That's 31 years ago. In the movies Back to the Future, they only went back 30 years. Like I was just telling my wife, we just went to Trader Joe's. And I said the Trader Joe's we went to, I think, opened up in 1996. And I said, you believe it, next year makes 30 years. And originally, when you hear that, it doesn't sound that old, but 30 years, like I said, if you would have went back 30 years in the 80s, like in Back to the Future, you're in the 50s. It's crazy. And it's funny because I saw a young kid the other day came up to me because he was talking about my truck. I have a Durango Hellcat truck. So he came over, he wanted to see the inside. I let him sit in it. He was a teenager. Actually, he was 18 because I said, how old are you? And he said he was 18. And I said, do you realize you have something that, like, you're richer than me. You have something I can't buy. And he said, what is that? I said, your age. I said, I could give you every penny I own, but I'll never get back to 18. I'm 51. I wish I knew certain things. Maybe not, because you know what? If I was more responsible, I may not have had the fun I had. Like I have a friend in town who at 21 became a cop. Now, what's good about that is he's going to retire and he's going to be younger than me. But while you're a cop, there's only so many. First of all, you're working hours. Like, you put your time in for sure. You're also working. You don't get breaks if the weather's bad. It's not like, oh, the store's closed today, you don't have to go to work or whatever the case is. Like, you're working. You're working those years. You're not going to have a lot of days off to do what you want to do. Yeah, granted, if you make it to 40 something, retire, that's great. Like I have a stepbrother, my father's first kid. His name is Eugene. He was a sheriff in California and he retired. And he's just a little older than me. I'm 51, he's probably 60. And all he does is travel around the world by himself or sometimes with other people who retired. But he's always someplace. He has property in California, he has property in Florida, and he's on a cruise or a plane minimum of once a month. I mean, I think he probably retired making, minimum of $300,000 a year. So he's making that in retirement. Imagine making that kind of money, not having to work no more. Like, that is something I wish I knew at 18. Yeah, you're putting in those hours, but if you make it to your retirement, you don't have to worry about anything after that. Even though most of the police officers that I know in New York who retire in their 40s don't retire completely. They do something else. Like one is called the cut lieutenant and he's a DJ. One is opened up a landscaping business. So very rarely do they retire. But knowing that you don't have to work gotta be something special. Knowing that you don't have to hustle and you're gonna make that kind of money is special. And those are the things I didn't realize as a young kid. I wish I had somebody telling me certain things at 18 years old, but I didn't. Not to knock my dad, he's still alive, he's 85 years old, but he wasn't business minded, not at all. I mean, not even a slight bit business minded. He was a typical worker, worked for somebody else his whole life. Then again, that's how most people are in my family, so I'm not knocking my dad. His last 25 years or so, he worked at the Javits Center. So he has a good pension. The Javits Center also gives you a good annuity. They pay you like $8 an hour, whatever it was, every hour you worked. So every week you were putting in, $300-400 into your annuity. Not every month, every week. Some people left that job with millions. My dad didn't. He left it with a few $100,000 because he also never did a lot of overtime. But man. And yeah, I know, guys, I change subjects a lot, but I feel like I'm just hanging out with friends on the corner, except you guys are in different corners of the world, maybe, which is, what I find cool. A lot of times I would come out here at night by myself, especially last year when, I had all those bad diagnoses with the cancer and everything else. I remember coming out here probably around this time, July 10th, 11th. I know today's only the 7th, but I remember coming out here the 10th or the 11th of July, listening to the cicadas. Last year, the cicadas were out by millions of them. This year, you don't hear one. And somebody's going to say, well, why do you care about the cicadas? Who gives a crap? It really made it feel like a different environment. Like I almost felt like I was in the woods. You would hear millions of them yapping at the same time. This year, I haven't heard one. That, or you would also hear the birds, like between 8 and 9 o'clock, right when it was starting to get dark. You would hear like the birds. It's crazy that I don't hear them this year neither. It almost feels like something's going on out there. Like it feels like something shifted, but I don't know what it was, or I don't know what it is. Yeah. Anyway, back to the RCs. See, this one comes in handy that it has a light now. And all the armors, no lights, you can't see nothing. Even the armor vortex. But like I said, I will be giving away, where is it? Is this the red one? Nope, that's the one I'm keeping. This must be the red one. This one. This is the brush version. I know you guys can't see it that well, but I will be giving away the brush version of this next week. Somebody won something for me last week that's going out tomorrow. I don't know if you happen to be watching this or not. It was going to go out today, but I was waiting for something that I wanted to include with it. So it'll go out tomorrow, and I'll send you tracking when it does. But I have to figure out how I'll do these giveaways, because giving the other stuff away didn't work too easy. I think I had one person participate, even though I had so many people watch the videos. I don't know if it's because maybe they watched it from out of the country, because I only let people from the lower 48 states participate just because of shipping purposes. Shipping a big box to a different country, not only is it expensive, it's time consuming because I can't do it from my house anymore. I got to find like the right city. They have different cities, states, and zip codes than I do, so it's not an easy thing to fill out at home. But I will do a giveaway for other people. What I will do is maybe do like a video game code. So that way people could even participate from not in the country, from anywhere in the world, as long as you could accept video game codes. But yeah, the good old MJX Hypergo. This is the car that got me into the hobby last year. Let me bring it over one last time, show it off. For 150 bucks, or it goes on sale for 127 a lot, or 125. You can't beat it. It's brushless, has a light. I don't love the clips on it. It actually came with two shells, but this is the shell that I use. It comes with a black shell and a blue shell. I've been using the black one. But for the price, even if you get stuck paying 150 for this, it's a great RC. Not only to start with, it's just a great RC. I mean, it's as fast as the brushless Chrome, plus you have the light built in. Plus you have ways to control the speed. You could, do medium or full blast. The armors are cool, but you can't use them at night. And I will be giving away a Vortex eventually too, because I have 3 of them. I don't know if anybody who's listening to how I got 3, but I bought the brush version, then the 4x4 brushless version came out, then the pink one that's on the floor right there came out. 3 weeks ago, I got a message on my phone from Horizon Hobby, in the middle of the night saying new release alert. So I put the order in without realizing it's an RC that I have 2 of already. Now, granted, the brush version don't count because it's not nowhere near as good as the brushless, but I already have a brushless version. So now I have a brushless 4-wheel drive and a brushless 2-wheel drive. So I will be giving the Vortex away as well. And this will be the next giveaway. This thing right here. I took the sticker off that said Mojave right there because I thought it looked nicer. I mean, again, it's probably the top clipless system out of all my RC cars. The shell is a hard shell. I mean, the brushless one is insane, but I'm not giving that one away because I like it. But this brushless one is no joke. You could actually hear it. Just wish it had lights. That's where like the Rolarios and stuff come in handy, because the Rolarios have lights and this one don't. Not even a way to add them, I don't think. So that's the problem with these RCs. I like them, just wish that they had options for lights. That's the only thing. And this is my pink Vortex that came the other day. Now, I did realize that this is one that I already had before it came, but then I liked the color, so I said, let me keep it anyway, even though I probably shouldn't have. But it's just one more that I'm going to give away then. I actually have probably 5 or 6 RCs I'm going to give away. I have a lot of things I want to give away, but I'm not going to do it until the channel picks up steam a little bit. Like the last thing I gave away a week or so ago, literally one person. I was giving away 5 different things and one person participated for 1. So once I pick up steam and people realize that I'm not bullshitting, if I tell you I'm giving something away, again, I don't expect people to jump through hoops. Usually it's be a subscriber, leave a comment, and if you live in the lower 48 states for certain ones, and then for the video game codes, and the only reason I'm doing video game codes is because that way everyone could participate. You could live anywhere around the world. As long as you could use a video game code for either a Switch or PlayStation, we won't have a problem. And I'm only doing that so that everyone around the world could participate. I don't like it when only people could participate from, certain places. I'm only doing that right now because it's easier for me to ship. It's cheaper and it's easier. Now, if things change with the channel and the subscriber base goes up and things, whatever goes up, then I won't mind spending the money on, the extra $50 on shipping to another country. But right now it's just not wise for me to do. And I'd rather start in baby steps, and it's also natural. I'm not doing, I'm not paying for things. I'm going slowly, um, trying to reach out to everybody. I don't want to say one-on-one because eventually that's not going to be doable, but more personable, more personal type of level. I just have to figure out how to get, I don't get notifications all the time when somebody leaves me a comment. So a video I make today, if somebody leaves me a comment in a day or two, I have to go back to it because I don't want people to think I'm not answering their comments. It's just not popping up for me. So I got to get a little better at it, which I will. I have some editors lined up that already work for me doing other things that'll help me make, better content. And one of the contents is just going to be giving things away. It just makes me feel good. Sometimes it's going to be toys, and hopefully I get to the level like Jimmy Dart where he actually helps people in need. I mean, that would be my ideal goal because he must feel like $1 million every day helping people in need. I just hope I get to that level before, who knows, living life is almost like Russian roulette these days, especially with everybody with cancer and so many people online. I don't know if it's because I follow one person that now everybody who has cancer is coming up in my timeline, and watching them like go is just heartbreaking. I just watched Tanner from Tanner and Shay. He passed away on the 25th. I mean, I watched Deborah Fix. I think her name was Deborah, whatever. She passed away in January. I mean, so many people are going that I'm thinking when I had like my diagnosis that the doctors told me was cancer last year, man, I really came outside to look at the grass to see how green it was and to hear the birds. And that's what made me appreciate the cicadas. I literally would come out here with coffee and just listen. I saw somebody say once that every 18-year-old kid should spend like a week in hospice because you're seeing people who are dying, and maybe it'll make you think a little bit different, love a little bit different. I mean, I would have done things differently a little bit. I mean, I'm lucky I found my wife, but, things could have turned out way different for me. My mom wasn't as smart as I was. Like, I grew up in the Bronx, but that was something I knew I didn't want for my son because I barely escaped it. Why give your kids that much of an obstacle? Life is an obstacle as it is. Why give them another one? And yeah, again, that's a story for another day. But anyway, tonight, I know I've been saying this every night, but I lay down with my son and then I just pass out. Last night I wanted to play the Switch 2 with 8-Bit Eric. 8-Bit Eric was on, and I was playing the Super Mario, what's the new world game with him a week ago, and I wanted to do it last night, but I was so tired that I just didn't get up. I fell asleep with my son and never got up. But if I could get up tonight, maybe if anybody wants to play some Switch 2 games or some new PlayStation games, I mean, I have so many new ones. But what's good about the Switch is that I could play with people. I could just put up the room number and, play with whoever. So if anyone has, the Switch 2 and they want to play, we could play together. But maybe I'll put up like maybe I'll go live and then ask people what they want to play. Maybe there's people who want to play a Switch 1 game or a PlayStation game more. I'll go with the wind. I'm not stuck. I don't even love the Switch Mario Kart games. My son hates them. I play them if it's, to play with somebody, but I don't love them. So it's just an easy game to play with multiple people. So if anybody wants to play later, like I said, it don't have to be that game. It could be anything. Just let me know. If I do go back on, it'll probably be between 12 and 1 o'clock. So if anybody wants to play some games, like I said, hopefully I get on between 12 and 1 and maybe we could play. All right, everybody. I'm going in. I feel like, the one thing I hate about the one thing that I could appreciate about the winter is, especially in the fall or spring, and I say those aren't my favorite times, but to be honest, I think I'd rather be, now that I'm thinking, a little cooler, because every time I'm in the front, I feel like I'm sticky. I feel like I have to put the bug spray on, which is also a pain in the ass. Not that I don't take a shower every night, but it's just, I could definitely do without the bugs. That's why my wife laughs and she says, you always say you want to move to Florida, but how are you going to move to Florida with the bugs? What can I say? She's usually right, but sometimes you also want to appreciate life. Sometimes being hot, makes me feel like I'm living. Plus, I got the AC inside, so not a bad deal. All right, everybody. I hope I catch up, with some of you guys later, maybe playing some games. Ciao.